Well, thank you all for joining in today. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy. We're going to be looking at the latest updates that we've seen from Amazon and the impacts that COVID-19 is currently having. As a reminder, the first 45 minutes of the presentation will be prepared material, and the last 15 minutes we will open up for questions and answers. So until that time, please keep your microphone muted. If you do have any questions during the presentation, feel free to write them into the chat bar and we will discuss them later, or you can unmute your microphone and you can ask the question during the Q&A period. This webinar is recorded and will be posted on our website later today, along with a copy of the slides. So you can always go to navazonconsulting.com to find the latest updates that we have for you. All right, so with that, I will pass it on over to Alan. Alan?
Thank you, Patrick. You might have noticed that the title of the presentation has changed just slightly. Previous slide, Patrick. And the reason that it is that we are providing Amazon updates now in the current environment. COVID-19, we now realize, is just part of the environment in which Amazon is operating. So as we move forward, there are going to be an increasing number of outside influences and impacts, and we'll begin to add those impacts in as well. And you'll see that reflected throughout the presentation today. That's reflected immediately in the first bullet, retail environment update. There's a lot of things changing just beyond, as partly influenced by COVID-19 and also as an acceleration and changing of the retail environment as we see today, and what we think is impacting the business environment that we're operating in and helping our clients operate in. There are very significant impacts still from COVID-19, so its impact on Amazon, the impact to vendors so that you know exactly what's happening and individuals across your business can also understand if you share this presentation with them, and crisis responses and action to consider as Amazon's adapting its environment. There are steps that can be taken to make sure that your business is best positioned for the success going forward. And we'll answer questions at the end. In terms of the retail environment, we've seen an acceleration of closures. J.Crew, Pier 1, Neiman Marcus, JCPenney all have filed for bankruptcy. Nordstrom has closed stores. And in addition to that, Target temporarily closed 175 stores, and Walmart has closed hundreds of stores due to protests. This has driven, in addition to the traffic that was online from COVID-19, now the protests are driving additional purchases online because stores are having to close. We don't anticipate that this is going to be a long-term, but it definitely could show a spike in some regional areas. Another development that we've seen in the retail space is that Facebook announced they have Facebook shops that will enable consumers to buy from Facebook or a company website. So Facebook has tried this in the past, but they've come back with a new offering where they'll just take a piece of the sale as well as integrate advertising within threads to, from their perspective, target customers who are looking for specific products and potentially deliver the specific products to the consumer. With COVID-19, the greatest impacts we've seen is as states shut down from March 23rd to March 30th to April 7th, most of the United States was in some period or status of a stay-at-home order. And we've seen the reversal of that somewhat. Next slide. So we're on April 7th. Most states were seeing stay-at-home. A lot of states have begun a phased reopening of their economies, and Amazon remains one of the few options that is still open. This graphic shows now, as of June 1st, yesterday, most of the state economies in the United States have entered some status or phase of reopening. Well, actually, all 50 states have begun to do some reopening. You can see that there is not a single state that is still shut down, and many are accelerating that reopening. In any case, we don't expect that customers are going to rush back to stores. I know myself, I feel a little bit safer and have become accustomed to online purchasing. So we expect to see a continued increase in online purchasing versus several months ago when stores were open. This is a graphic that just shows what downtown Seattle showed. On the left-hand side, you see the Gap was completely boarded up when initial reordering or reopening started. You see that there were curbside deliveries and purchases were allowed through the one door that's open in the plywood. There has a white sign next to it where somebody could come up and drop things off or pick them up. To do the slide on the right, the graphic shows that as of 2 days ago, the Gap downtown, I guess 3 days, early Friday, the Gap was fully open. There has been an adjustment to that, which I'll mention a little later. With Amazon spent over $4 billion, or will spend over $4 billion on COVID-related costs in Q2. Things that are important to understand about Amazon is the pictures, the top two pictures there on the right, show that Amazon is literally putting together laboratories to do the intent is to develop scalable COVID testing. They expected to start testing employees at a small scale basis and want to be able to process hundreds of thousands of tests within the coming months. They're trying to accelerate that as quickly as possible, not only to test their hundreds of thousands of employees, but they're considering expanding that and opening it up so that tests, they could offer that potentially as a service to the rest of the country and in parts of the world. The additional funds they are spending are cleaning facilities. They've created less efficient process paths to optimize for social distancing. That was a very difficult phrase actually to type in from Amazon experience. They are very much about optimizing and making more efficient. So to type something in that says creating less efficient processes, that's something that's counter to their DNA. So it was something they initially struggled with, but then realized, hey, they're optimizing for a different point. And so right now they're optimizing for social distancing and the safety of their employees. That has made them internally much less efficient. However, they're recovering from that very quickly. They were paying higher wages as well to the staff that were working at the time. They purchased over 100 million masks, and they're still providing free masks at Whole Foods nationwide so that customers can have that as they're processing. The last graphic there shows a few other things that Amazon is currently doing. They have over 31,000 thermometers for daily temperature checks. This graphic just gives you kind of the extent of their operation and the scale at which they're operating, with 93 million additional cleaning sprays and wipes and 48 million additional ounces of hand sanitizer, and that's just for their operations. And you can see that there have been drastic changes and measures that they've taken and continue to take. As we know, in the 13th, Amazon began expanding shipments to non-essential items, and now orders are reflecting customer sales. Purchase orders that our clients are seeing remain elevated in many cases, particularly for PPE items or COVID spike accounts, as we're calling them. Other orders are aligning with higher sales from increased online purchasing. With the stay-at-home orders still in effect in some capacity, people are still purchasing many items online, and companies, although cleared to reopen, many companies are slow to return to work. So in addition to items that consumers would typically order, we're seeing more business purchases moving online as well. Another change, so in terms of purchase orders, we've actually seen now purchase orders from Amazon being greater than they were pre-COVID, from what we believe is increased customer traffic to online, and Amazon in particular. There is an exception there for group, public, or social community activity products. Those do remain somewhat depressed, but are increasing as the economy is reopening and people are able to interact with each other a little bit more. Another item that we mentioned is Amazon is doing full truckload service or shipping nationally now. That is expected to continue to increase as Amazon is increasing the number of trucks that it owns. It's being able to enhance its systems and processes such that it's absorbing right now full truckloads for other companies and not just for its own shipments. So we expect that will enable it to become more efficient over time and increase its response time in terms of knowing where products are and how quickly they can get processed at a fulfillment center. Amazon also announced recently that it's keeping up to 125,000 of the 175 temporary workers that it had hired. And this goes to show that the growth of Amazon and online sales in particular is not expected to decline in the near future. In the near future, it's expected to continue at an elevated level to the point that Amazon is now making those positions permanent. Something that we want to highlight for all clients, we've heard this in the past as well, is that product suspensions continue, and particularly at a high rate. In several weeks, we've seen suspensions happen on Tuesday and again happen on Wednesday for a number of reasons. Right now, a lot of them are COVID related in terms of compliance, and some of them are counterfeit related. In 2019, Amazon mentioned that it had invested over $500 million, has more than 8,000 employees fighting fraud and abuse, which was a staggering number when I saw it, is that hundreds of millions of dollars. It's great to see it. However, we know that our clients continue to be impacted by that. Amazon has stopped 2.5 million suspected bad actors from opening Amazon selling accounts. This gives you the scale and scope of the problem that they're having to manage, the people that are trying to take advantage of them on a daily basis. And they've blocked over 6 billion suspected bad listings before they were published. So it's by no means a fight that's over, but it's definitely a fight that Amazon's actively engaged in on counterfeits. However, the fight against counterfeits is catching some products and getting them suspended. So we stay in touch with where those product suspensions are and have tools internally to make sure that we're spotting those for you. Price gouging was another area where product suspensions could occur. Amazon, in writing algorithms, the algorithms are not always perfect. And those algorithms have removed over 500,000 offers due to potential price gouging. And Amazon then asks for people to re-engage on those topics. And they have suspended more than 3,900 seller accounts where they have identified price gouging. Unfortunately, both counterfeits, price gouging do catch legitimate products and sellers, and that's where it's really important that we stay on top of seeing any product suspensions or account suspensions as they come across. Amazon internally, as many people know, have programs such as Project Zero, Transparency, and Brand Registry to try to counteract these bad actors and counterfeiters. Recently, they've actually announced they're testing another capability where they're video conferencing to actually validate sellers to try to keep bad actors and bad products off the web, and Amazon in particular. So although they're investing hundreds of millions of dollars, there's many people that continue to find ways around and skirt the issues and get products suspended. We'll stay on top of it to make sure that we are capturing all that product suspensions and getting yours reselling if any do get captured in these projects. Amazon non-core businesses are reopening. This is an area that we see Amazon is operations are not back to normal per se, but are beginning to reopen the non-core businesses such that they have the employee levels and the operations at a period where they feel comfortable making adjustments. And you'll see that even more clearly in slides as Dave mentions in later slides. However, you notice on the left-hand side, the Amazon store currently, due to protests in downtown Seattle and protests that are occurring around the nation, have required some stores to board up. And the left-hand picture there, you'll see Amazon stores have actually boarded up their 4-star store. And on the right-hand side is an Amazon Go store that was broken into on the right-hand side. So that store has been closed until it's able to repair. However, this image on the left-hand side shows that the Amazon store in another downtown location just this morning, about 30 minutes ago, is open for business. and people have been going in grabbing sandwiches for breakfast and for lunch. So Amazon, even its non-core businesses, are reopening, with the exceptions that are being impacted by protests that are happening currently. As I mentioned, for vendors or our clients, increased orders in nearly all accounts, with the exception of group or social activities. And then internationally, Amazon continues to expand and invest. Amazon India is making an investment into an Indian retailer to expand it, named Future Retail Limited. And Amazon kind of got a extra hand up or advantage somewhat in an announcement in India that Walmart had a setback. It could be a gain for Amazon that Walmart's owned Flipkart portion had made a proposal to enter India's food business, but that proposal to the Indian government has so far been rejected. So Amazon has a little bit of a head start in the international business there. Now, to go into even more specific activities that impact business, Dave has the following slide.
Okay. All right, great. Okay. So as Al mentioned, in terms of Vendor Central, a lot of the programs are starting to resume for vendors. So you can see here all the available green. This is just things that have changed over the last 2 weeks that are now available once again. We'll go over a lot of these programs in the slides that are upcoming. But just to touch on this, basically the promotions are now back and live again. They're available. Prime Day deals are there. You can go and submit those. You're able to submit those for the Lightning deals June 5th. And then for self-service promotions, you can submit them as well until the 17th for Prime Day. New product purchasing is starting to normalize. Dropship can still be used because Born to Run is still suppressed right now. Born to Run is going to have limited availability. It's starting to come back for some vendors that Amazon has, but it's not available to all of those just yet. And then Amazon's also starting to launch a new program that you'll start seeing showing up in accounts, which is bulk buy offers. That's not available yet either, but that program is starting to appear in accounts. And then the other thing I'll mention too is if you don't have dropship set up yet, Amazon is allowing you now to set up new dropship accounts, and I would highly encourage you to do that if you got that capability, just based upon what we're seeing in the data across the clients we work with. In terms of purchase orders, one thing you might have noticed on Monday is that a lot of vendors or a lot that we work with did not receive any POs. So what happened? Amazon's IPC system actually ended up failing to generate orders. Some orders did go out in the morning, but for most vendors, they didn't get one at all. If you would have wrote to RBS actually would have came back to you and told you everything was normal. But we reached out to some of our contacts there, and we've got told that an internal Sev 2 was raised to address and fix the issue. So what happened was then Amazon started placing purchase orders throughout the day. Some of these were done automatically. Some of these were done manually. For most of the POs that we ended up seeing coming out later than normal, they had extended ship or delivery windows, generally by a day or two. If you didn't actually get that, you didn't get a delivery extension and your PO did come out late in the day, make sure you're reaching out to your VM or RBS to see if you can get an extra day because of the error, and you can just document when you actually receive those POs to let them know. In general, for purchase orders, they still remain elevated, even though, kind of as Al mentioned, business is starting to resume. We are seeing very high demand still within Amazon. We're actually seeing that demand increasing for some categories, especially as the summer season starts to open up. People are still, as we said earlier anyway, their purchasing behavior has started to shift online. More people have started to shift, and then as they're starting to go back out and do more things, they're keeping purchases online rather than going back to the stores. In that same manner, then dropship is also remaining high. Dropship is still remaining elevated because Amazon's demand is constantly increasing, and again, forecasting is still not keeping up with it just yet as it keeps going up and up. Forecasting needs normally about 4 to 6 weeks worth of data in order to see that, and as the growth continues to climb, forecasting hasn't exactly caught up yet. So you're still seeing high dropship, and it's a good thing also if you're monitoring your weeks of cover just to make sure that if you got the dropship capability, you've got enough units in stock in order to maintain an in-stock status so you don't go out and then forecasting takes longer to catch up. As I mentioned earlier, things are starting to resume in terms of operations for Amazon. So Amazon bulk buys actually went out. For Europe, bulk buy program started again on 5/17. This is where Amazon sends out a group of POs for a future ship or delivery date. Normally have a lot of inventory of certain products that they see high demand for. So they ask you for a discount, you give them the discount, and then you ship it in the future on that. So that resumed on 5/17 for Europe. The U.S. has started to come back here on 5/28, and then what we've been seeing across the accounts is that these POs are for the end of June, July, and August. As I mentioned earlier, Amazon is starting a new program as well for bulk buys, so it's under vendor-initiated orders, which is the same spot where the Born to Run program is available. It's starting to be rolled out for select accounts. Currently, it's all unavailable. They haven't actually turned the program on, but it's starting to appear there, and if you're getting it in your account, under that vendor-initiated orders section, you're going to see something like this at the bottom, where it does say bulk buy offers. As I mentioned, Born to Run is still unavailable. There's limited availability, so they are starting to turn it back on for certain Amazon vendors. But it's not rolled out across the board just yet. For most of the vendors that I've seen, they're still getting the message where it's currently disabled. They still have the extension period in place, depending on when you actually shipped inventory to Amazon for that. But we do expect that to start coming back online shortly to all the vendors across the board, because we're seeing everything start to resume as normal in terms of operations for Amazon. Chargebacks, there's been a slight change there. So with the on-time non-compliance chargebacks, effective June 1st, Amazon has temporarily relaxed their chargeback policy for not on time and down confirmed subtypes of the PO on time accuracy chargeback. So in terms of not on time, so this is where if you're shipping it outside your ship window or you're delivering it outside delivery window, they're now giving you 5 calendar days after the window ends from June 1st until the 30th. And then from July 1st to the 31st, they're giving you 3 calendar days after the window ends. So you're going to have to track that individually, but you do get a couple extra days now in order to actually ship or deliver the products. Down confirms also being waived only for June 1st to the 30th, and it's only 10 days after the window starts. So whenever your ship window or delivery window actually starts, you'll have 10 days where you basically can adjust that. So if you're not able to ship it, so the down confirm really should be covered within the not on time, because if you can't ship the product, then you should be going back in there and you should be either decreasing that amount or canceling the PO on that to avoid those chargebacks. But you do get a couple extra days to actually end up doing that. Normally down confirm was 5 days, so it's giving you a couple more. And then with both of these chargebacks, they're still measuring your trailing 4-week on-time performance. So it's going to be calculated off these new policies when it does resume as well. So keep that in mind. So even after, like with the down confirmed after the 30th of June, or on the not on time, the 31st of July, they will be looking backwards then. So you'll have to be maintaining that rate. In terms of the SIOC chargeback, so there was a waiver in place for that until May 31st. That was on selected categories: baby, beauty, grocery, health, and personal care. That now has resumed on June 1st, so that's back to normal. All these categories now do get the chargeback once again, but keep in mind that if you're seeing SIOC chargebacks pop up, just take a look at that date. If you fell within one of those categories and within that time frame, you'll want to go and submit a dispute on that, just to make sure that Amazon is right in those cases. But that's back to normal if you're shipping SIOC ASINs. Customer orders. So as Amazon operation gets up to speed, Amazon.com has removed the delayed messaging. That's no longer there within the Prime shipping, where it says order now and get it in 2 days or so. It used to have messaging that would actually say that it would be delayed because of COVID-19. That's now been removed. Delivery speeds are also starting to increase again, where they're offering the 2-day and the same-day delivery once again. That's not across the board, though, because it does depend upon the city and the FC there on how it's impacted by COVID-19 or other issues. The good news there, though, is as the speeds are starting to increase, Amazon is now starting to win the buy box again. So if you're looking at your lost buy box data, you will start to see that decrease as Amazon starts to go back up there again. And that's just because of how the algorithm was, where if you had a slower shipping speed, even if you had a lower cost, Amazon would basically cede the buy box to a third party if they could ship it faster. Amazon Fresh, they're allowing customers to sign up now, but there are still limited delivery time slots available, so they're still impacted. That shows you that things haven't resumed completely to normal just yet, but it is definitely getting better. We're seeing the trend. Amazon Pantry and Amazon Prime, both of them have resumed services as well, and they're available to customers, once again, that are shopping on Amazon. In terms of promotions, as I mentioned earlier, promotions are available once again. So this is a snapshot of today's deals page. As you can see here, deals of the day are available once again, along with all the other types of deals, such as lightning deals, best deals, coupons. So all self-service promotions are available. The vendor-initiated programs, which include the deal of the day, slots are available and they're running once again. If you have contact with your vendor manager and you want to do a deal of the day, you'll want to reach out to them. Prime Day, That right now is expected to occur in September based upon our sources. June 5th is still the submission date for LDs for that, or lightning deals. June 17th for the self-service deals. If you're working through your vendor manager, that's the date that you need to send them to him or her by. And then category deals have resumed as well.
All right, so with the questions and answers, we had one sent over during the meeting by Dana. He was asking about the difference between brand registry, transparency, and Project Zero. I can go through that one real quickly. The brand registry is more protection for your brand and registered trademarks. So it allows you to apply for this program. You can be a rights owner or a registered agent. And it has trademark infringement tools that allow you to track anyone who is infringing on your copyrights, on your trademarks, or any other sort of copyright infringements or counterfeits that are selling your products. They have a separate Contact Us portal for brand and content protection that allows you as a registered owner of a brand to protect your content, and they are usually faster than regular Contact Us cases. With the transparency program, it is basically a serialized counterfeit protection program. So you register products into this program where they will give you a sticker and a serial number for each unit of your registered product. And that allows you to see and track where your inventory is going. And it allows Amazon to find counterfeit offers because those products from counterfeits will not possess the Amazon transparency sticker. Project Zero is an automated protection from counterfeits. So it's a heightened version of brand registry where they use machine learning to automatically detect any counterfeit or trademark infringements. And it requires that you are actually brand registered, that you are a trademark owner. You can't be a registered agent for that program. And you must have a 90% approval rating from trademark infringement requests that you put through brand registry. So another question that we got was, when do you think Born to Run will be reactivated for everyone?
So we believe Born to Run should be coming back within 1 to 3 weeks based upon the trends that we're seeing. I mean, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, Born to Run's already starting to be turned back on for some clients that we work with or vendors at Amazon. It looks like Amazon is doing it systematically. So 1 to 3 weeks, it should be back on across the board for everybody.
And then another question, how would you see the riots in Seattle impacting Amazon?
Yeah, I believe the riots and protests that are going on around the country are going to have a localized impact. As we mentioned, the Target stores are closed, the Walmart stores are closed. Those are going to, in the short run, and on a localized perspective, I believe, drive additional traffic online due to safety concerns. On a globalized scale and long term, I think that will be a reduced impact as repairs are made and the activity declines, perhaps.
And then, Alan, with J.Crew and other retailers like JCPenney announcing or considering bankruptcy, how will you see this affecting Amazon?
The bankruptcies, I think, continue to drive customers to online purchases in general and strengthens Amazon's case in different areas. Amazon's online offering to get things to people in the same day or second day with a reluctance to travel and a preference to stay indoors, particularly right now. I think these store closings continue to accelerate and give an advantage to Amazon because it's driving customers to Amazon more. As an individual goes to a store and it's closed, it's a little bit frustrating. I think that frustration will translate into greater business for Amazon.
Hey, Alan, this is Dana. Is Amazon still in discussions with purchasing JCPenney or part of it?
I haven't heard any extension to that currently. It was just the initial announcement, and then haven't been able to find an official acknowledgement of continued negotiations or anything for that purchase.
Thanks.
Going forward, we will continue to keep you informed. We realize that changes are continuing to happen at a rapid rate, so we expect to have another presentation like this in the next 2 weeks to provide an update, and then possibly extend the period of time in between, as Amazon, many things at Amazon have begun to return to operations that have been expected in the past, with promotions and marketing and other things coming online. We anticipate that changes may slow to some extent. However, we expect the updates to continue, and we're going to continue to bring you updates in the next 2 weeks, and we'll adjust maybe the timing from there. We're still seeing significant changes in operations, purchase orders, chargebacks, and other items that we want to make sure that we as a team are bringing you those updates so that you have the greatest and best information at your fingertips to make adjustments in the business. And we know that many of our clients are facing a challenging environment, from clients that have manufacturing that shut down right now, clients that have their ordering staff shut down or have limited access to. These are all things that are impacting business right now, and we want to be sure to bring you this information so that you can integrate it into how your organization is preparing for the future, and be assured that we are rolling out new products and tools internally to help you manage in this new environment. We've got products now, a new product tracker, digital product called Digital Shelf, and a Retail HUD product that we will be bringing to bear on accounts over the coming months, and we're excited to share those with you in the weeks ahead. Thank you for your business.
I think you still have another question there from Rory.
Yeah, so it looks like Rory asked, will product suspensions that catch legitimate products remain at elevated levels for long?
In terms of the product suspension, that is an internal item that Amazon has, I think for this period, been specifically heightened due to the COVID-related products and price gouging. So I think we could expect the product suppressions or suspensions to decline over time. However, they've never gone to zero. Amazon runs those algorithms at a periodic level. In products, we found products get where in this period may be getting flagged every week. It will probably go to a cycle of maybe every month or every couple months as the COVID-19 product suspensions and algorithms are adjusted moving forward. I think fewer products will be caught in those, so that should going forward be a lesser problem.